Good morning. So today we are continuing with the Uddhava Gita. Like I said, there will be 4 talks: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Saturday and Sunday will be early morning, 6:30. Friday and Monday it is evening, 4:30 to 5:30. So we are beginning a new chapter today, that is chapter 19. Now this chapter may look like a very boring chapter to most of you all because it's going to talk about the Sankhya philosophy. The Sankhya philosophy is about the creation and how things happen and so on and so forth. I think you have heard about this many a times. Those who have been very regular in our other satsangs, from Dasbodh to Bhagavad Gita to whichever, they have heard this philosophy quite often. So now today we are going to do the Sankhya philosophy, and Sri Krishna is explaining to Uddhava how this came about. So we are doing the Uddhava Gita, chapter 19, verse 1. The Lord said, "Now I shall tell you about the Sankhya system propounded by the ancients, knowing which a man can immediately give up the error caused by seeing of multiplicity." Why do we have this multiplicity in our world? See, when we say a multiplicity, what exactly are we talking about? On one side, we are talking about the divine experiences. We are talking about the soul, the spirit, this, that, so many things on that side. And on the other side, we are talking purely of material existence. Things which affect us so miserably. The life that you are leading, this body that you are dragging along for so many years, it has its own idiosyncrasies. You will find that you have your pleasure and pain. You have those problems in your life which keep on coming constantly. You have joy and happiness also. You feel elated. You feel nice about yourself. You feel that the world is doing well. This dichotomy that is there in life goes on for a very, very long time. It is from the beginning of the life to the end of the life. That means the moment you are born, imagine you are coming out in this world and you are looking at this world in awe. You look at everybody. Have you seen a baby look at people? I know they say that baby can't see, all right? But let us think about it as a baby. When you open your eyes and you see some creature standing over there, and that creature is looking at you and saying, "I am your mummy, I am your dad." And these things are happening. Now, as you progress in life, you come across various other human beings also. We call them friends, relatives. There are school children when you go to school. You play with your playmates. Then you see animals and birds. There is the whole plethora of this creation that is there around you. And then you come across philosophies which are so controversial. There, if you are born in a Brahmin family or a family which believes in vegetarianism, for you to think about killing a chicken or a goat or something like that is very, very dangerous. You will say, "How can I do that? How can anybody do that?" And then there are those children who are growing up in a family where they are supposed to eat meat left, right, and center. For them, it really doesn't matter whether it is a beef, whether it's pork, whether it is any kind. They think it is a breakfast. And from there onwards till the end of the day, they are having meat. It doesn't make any difference to them. For them, vegetarianism is. And then there are other types like vegans and all. And you are literally being brainwashed into this kind of a world. You start thinking that this is what I am. This is the food I am supposed to eat. This is the way I am supposed to dress. You see, even your dressing habits, the way you live, the way you stay in that house. If you're born in a Hindu family, you have to remove your slippers and chappals and your shoes outside. You have to wash, then you can come in. But if you're born in a Christian or other families, you can walk inside with your shoes. You can sleep with your shoes on the bed. Have you not seen all these Western movies, at least I have seen, where the person is sleeping on the bed with his dirty clothes on and his shoes? Now I said dirty clothes. Do you see why? Because I was born in a family and I grew up in a place, this body grew up in a place where for us we have to change. We have to wash our feet, wash our hands and everything and then go to bed. And clothes are different. Even our working clothes are different. In India, you wear different kinds of clothes. The way we welcome people at home, if somebody pops into our house, we are so happy. We ask him how are things and all that. And we literally, it's not a problem for anybody. But abroad, to go and meet even your own relative, your closest relative, maybe your own son or daughter, you have to first take their permission. How stupid can that be if you are born in India? But for them, this is stupid. You see, how can you just barge into somebody's house, they will say. So the philosophies differ. This dichotomy is there in this world. So many different methodologies are there. Even at the time of death, the Hindus cremate, they burn their bodies. The Westerners, they put them in the graves. They have ceremonies. In India, some people will be dancing while going for the cremation. The wedding ceremonies are different. Everything is different here. Across the world, there are civilizations which have come about and they have started adopting whatever that new thing that they have learned. As you move across generations, are you able to understand what is truth in all this? It's a version which you are attuned to. You have started believing that this is life. Take the example of marriage. In a married life, in India, the parents will decide whom you are supposed to get married to. The society decides your marriage. In other countries, you go on dates, you go see now today's day and age, you see the apps, you download the apps, you turn left, right or whatever that they do, you find your match and then you go on a date. For those so-called old-fashioned people in India and other countries, it is, oh my God, how can you do that? And for these people who are doing this left, right, center, just imagine swiping right or left or whatever that they do. I'm sorry, I don't know much about it. I only read. Okay. For them, it is like a normal thing. There is a serial called Modern Love. I don't know whether it's a serial or whatever. And in that, if you go and see, they are talking about all this modern love. There is no love in it. You change your partners as if you are changing clothes. So in this, the Purans that we have today, in the Brahma Vaivarta Puran, it is mentioned very clearly how this world is evolving. There is no goodness or godliness left in this world. It is because of the things that have happened over a period of time. And that is why today we are going to do the Sankhya philosophy. Why do we have this disconnect in this world? Why is it that one person feels what they are doing is right? And why does the other person feel that what he or she is doing is right? Whereas both are wrong. It is their way of thinking because of the mind. Didn't we do that yesterday? Yesterday, when we were doing the 18th chapter, it ended in such a manner that your mind is very strong, it can create illusions for you. So, both these people, those who believe that they have to go through arranged marriage, and somebody who believes that they have to fall in love, they have to go through apps, or they may have to meet the people and get settled in their life, for them, both are wrong. Because this is nothing but Maya's creation. And that is why knowledge of the Sankhya philosophy is important. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. So, I shall tell you the Sankhya system propounded by the ancients, knowing which a man can immediately give up the error caused by seeing this multiplicity. When you see this multiplicity, you get lost in either this or that. And Krishna is telling Uddhava, I am not responsible for it, sir. I have not created this philosophy at all. This philosophy is propounded by the ancients. It has come about because of human beings feel that they are the bodies. It is their own way of looking at things. So we are going to understand this. The Vedas are speaking in a certain language. And this language is misinterpreted by the human beings. And how did this come about? This is what we are going to explore today. Why did this multiplicity come about? Why do people think that the wrong is right? What wrong they are doing is right. They think today adharma is right. We are in the Kali Yuga. And the adharma is perfect. It's like yesterday, there was a satsang going on Guru Charitra, where the philosophy of sati was being told. Now, in today's day and age, in the Kali Yuga, it is a banned practice. You can't even talk about it. But in ancient times, it was a norm of the day. And this is the thing which we are going to explore. Why did this happen? What is right in this? Whether they are right or whether today what we are doing is right. If you want to know the truth is different than these two. And that is why the error caused by multiplicity, you start accepting one or the other. It is because of your conditioning. And it is called the conditioning of the mind. Please remember this. It has nothing to do with God Almighty. It has nothing to do with Krishna. But it is very easy to blame him for everything that happens in this world. Did I not say that? So we will go to the beginning of this whole creation. So we are doing chapter 19, verse 2. Before the origin of Yuga, the knower and the entire objective universe was verily one and homogeneous. The same was the case of the Satyuga. At the beginning of the cycle, when people were skilled in discrimination. So we are going to talk about how this came about. At the beginning of the Yuga, there are 4 Yugas total. The Satyuga is the first one, which is so called Krita, by the way, also. Then it is Treta, then it is Dwapara, and then it is the Kali Yuga. After the Kali Yuga, everything comes to standstill. The whole universe collapses. Collapses doesn't mean that the whole world is going to burst into flames or something like that. No. It is not going to happen like that. The earth has been in existence for millions or billions of years. I don't know. And this is going on as a cycle. It is just nothing but sweeping the floor. Okay? See what happens if you are staying in a dusty street. If you are staying let us say, in the town. Now what happens when you are staying in the town? In the early morning, you go and dust the whole place up. And slowly what happens? The dust starts gathering. By the end of the day, there is a pile of dust lying all over the place. Isn't that what happens? Exactly like that. The first yuga, it is cleaning. The whole place is cleaned and spick and span. Then the contamination starts happening. As the contamination happens, everything starts becoming, tainted by whatever the yuga is going through. And that is what he says. Before the origin of the yuga, the knower and the entire objective universe were verily one. Before this yuga started, there was only the Brahma. That's it. Krishna is the creator of everything. From him emanated everything. With this we have understood. In the Bhagavad Gita, I am teaching you about the second divine unmanifest, which is the Supreme Person, which is also his supreme abode. We have done this. From this came the first divine, the first unmanifest, which is called the Brahma. Now from the Brahma came everything else. So before anything happens, before the origin of the yuga, the knower and the entire objective universe were one. It is like a point source, dot. Not even a dot. Don't even think of a dot. It is just existing there. And homogeneous. There was no differentiation. You cannot even say that there was earth there was sun there, moon there, nothing, no differentiation. Human beings also were not there. Nothing was there. Absolutely nothing was there. Everything was literally homogeneous, mixed up. Got it? The same was the case of the Satyuga at the beginning of the cycle, when people were skilled in discrimination. So from that came the Satyuga. The first yuga came into the picture. The beginning happened. See, after the fourth yuga, after Kali Yuga, there is a small gap. And from that gap, then the new yuga starts, which is again the beginning. So it's like a cycle, going back again. So from the first, second, third, fourth, first, second, third, fourth, first, second, third, fourth, like that. So the Krita Yuga starts all over again. Now in the first yuga, everybody is enlightened, kind of, they have discrimination. They know the real from the unreal. Which means at the beginning of time, everybody knows that everything that you see in this material world is unreal. Got it? And the reality is only the truth. That is, God Almighty is the only real thing in this world. Nobody else is real. And this is what is understood by these people from the first yuga. And they are enlightened people. They have, their only life is to keep on thinking about things. And in their world, they were creating and writing stuff. They used to pray to God. That is all they were doing. And they understood that this whole creation came from the defined place. So how did this come about? How did they actually understand? So it is written over here. So we are doing chapter 19 of the Uddhava Gita, verse 3. Now Sri Krishna is explaining this to Uddhava. The absolute and the homogeneous reality, the Brahma, which transcends mind and speech, became split into two, the objective world and the thinking subject. So, at the beginning of time, when the first yuga was supposed to come up, before the function started, we can say like that. You see, before they got married, before the function started, before anything happens, like that. Okay? So, think at the absolute and homogeneous reality. What is this absolute and homogeneous reality? I told you just now that it is called the Parabrahma, the Brahma, which is the father of everything. We call it father, you can call it mother, you can call it whatever you want to. Actually, there is no name, there is no way of knowing also, because it is unmanifest. You can't even know what it is. That means they say first there was nothing. So that is the absolute and the homogeneous reality, the nothing. Okay? And which transcends mind and speech. What is it that made the difference when I started the satsang? Did I not tell you? As a child, you open your eyes and you see mummy, daddy, and all the people around you. And your ideas are developed as you progress in the world. All this is unreal. Because those people who are standing in front of you cannot be your mummy, daddy. They are just a via media. Okay? Just a production machine, you see? It's like, suppose I say, my motor car is made in a particular factory. So can I call that factory as my mother or father? No. You are also a machine. You are a human being which is a machine. And if you go and ask Elon Musk, he's going to say, yes, you are a machine. Because he's going to fit something in your brain. You see, the funny part which he did was, he fitted a small device in the brain of a monkey. And the strangest part of it all is, the monkey was able to play complicated video games. So does it mean that those who play video games are like monkeys? It's a joke, okay? so, so imagine, he fitted a small device, Neuralink he calls it. He fitted a small device in the brain of a monkey. And all those, those agencies that are there in America, they went and surveyed this whole place. They found it is a perfectly clean place and the monkey is okay, hale and hearty. And then they gave him the video games to play. And that fellow was happily playing video games. Monkeys don't play video games, okay? But this monkey, because of that Neuralink, was able to play video games. Doesn't that sound very nice? Imagine your brain is fitted with this kind of a link. Full day you can sit playing video games. It's a world of unreal. You are like a machine. And just because the machine got manufactured in some place, this body of yours, which is supposedly human, got manufactured because of some mother and father, you started accepting it that these are my parents. And this is my husband, this is my wife, these are my children. I gave birth to them. And you started accepting it as the reality. Whereas there is nothing like that. Okay? It is something which you can't even believe. Think about it. I just now told you a story that there is one serial called Modern Love, right? I don't know which channel it is on. But in that, there are a couple, two men who are staying in New York City, and they think that they need to have a baby, a child. So they go to this agency where these people find a girl who doesn't even have a place to stay. She's like a vagabond. She goes from place to place to place to place. She doesn't even know whose child it is. I think she knows. And she is saying that, I will come to your place and I will deliver the baby. Whose baby is it? Now this woman, who is carrying the baby for 9 months in her womb, gives the baby to two males. Okay? Now it's a baby girl. And then the first time she comes to his house, she puts up a tent in the living room. Alright? And she has a boyfriend. This boyfriend is he's one of those, homeless guys. A funny part is Ed Sheeran has played that role. And those who understand who Ed Sheeran is, you will know. Imagine that. So now she stays with him, and then the next time she comes, when she has to deliver, she comes with another guy. What has this world come to? And then she gives the baby to these children, these people. So now think about it. What is this validity of mother and father? So doesn't that tell you today in the Kali Yuga, we have come to this understanding that relationships are just not worth any name? Because two males can get married, two females can get married. And they don't need to produce their own children, they can have somebody else's child. Where is that the supposedly, the first yuga, second yuga, sanctity kind of a thing? Sanctity, which says, that there is a mother and there is a father. This is my mommy, this is my daddy. There is no way of knowing at all. So did you get this point? This is what is the problem. Nobody understands this. So this absolute and homogeneous reality, the Brahma, which transcends mind and speech. I just now gave you a speech and your mind was completely messed up, isn't it? Can you tell me who is the mother, who is the father? Are they really mothers? Are they really fathers? Just you have like a one night stand, or you don't even know whom you are sleeping with, and you have a baby. How can that be a father or a mother? It is just an act. That is it. There is no sanctity left as far as that act is concerned. And here we are talking, that is why the mind is completely messed up. Now remember this, in the first yuga, the mind and the speech, that itself was transcended, gone beyond. So mind and the speech was not even in the picture. And that is the reason why the Vedas were not actually written. They were transmitted telepathically from one place to the other. So later on, when the divine wanted the Vedas to be written down, the divine himself came as Vyasadeva and got it written down. Actually, it was done by Ganesha. He is the scribe. He wrote that with his own tusk. Ganesha has one tusk, no? He's got the elephant head, so he's got the tusk. So he uses it as a quill, a writing pen, to write the Vedas down. And Ved Vyas is dictating it to him. And that is what happened later on. But first the Vedas came into existence. At that time, there was homogeneity. There was nothing there. And there was nothing, like everything was transcending mind and speech. Then the change started. The split into two happened. The objective world and the thinking subject. The objective world came into the picture. Now in your case, what is the objective world? The objective world is that which you feel, touch, see. And the thinking is different. You see, thinking is different. I just now told you a story. There are two males. They are married to each other. This baby is there. This mother is there giving birth. That is the objective world. But I made you think, who is the father? Who is the mother? Who is this child? How these people are living like this? Whether there is no congruity, there is no need of understanding any of these subjects. Everything has become so diffused in this world. Person lives in the streets, comes with one boyfriend, then another boyfriend, doesn't matter. There is no such so-called sanctity of the past left over there. And that is what it means. This is the thinking. Now, when I gave you this thought, the thinking mind came into the picture, isn't it? You started thinking, how does that happen? How does that happen? What is this all about? There are the subjective things, and there is this mind, which is going to tell us. We are going to verse 4 now, chapter 19, verse 4 of the Uddhava Gita. Of these two things, one is Prakriti, which has a dual nature, and the other knowledge absolute, which is called the Purusha. From the knowledge only everything comes out, isn't it? Think about it. All these invention, just now I was telling you about Neuralink. Neuralink is nothing but the mind and the machine interface. There is a machine, artificial intelligent machine, that is fitted in your brain. It's an artificial intelligence. It's a kind of a brain. Right? And you are the physical one. It is fitted in your brain. And then you are made to react accordingly. So if this is the way how things are happening, so this is what he is telling us. On one side, first the knowledge came. The knowledge about how to do this kind of a thing. Today, we are doing so many things first by means of knowledge. There are universities, there are institutions which are coming up with different knowledge structures. You will be amazed to know what all things are happening in this world. Yesterday I was giving a talk on the graphical interface. Okay. Now, what is all this about? First, it was in the form of an equation. The equation was then transcended. That means it was first knowledge base. And then that knowledge base was converted into some reactions. And these reactions were then translated into physical entities. Physically something is happening. So think about it like that. First you write it. Even if we take the first program that was written, okay, the binary system. How did the binary come into the picture? The zeros and the ones. Yes, it was first written down. And now the whole thing is now tell the computer to churn out something and it does for you. Isn't it true? So that is why he is saying there are two things. One is the absolute knowledge, which is the basis of everything. And that is the Purusha. The Purusha is the basis of knowledge. And then the other thing which has dual nature. What is the dual nature? It is called Prakriti. I create something from this knowledge. I create something. That creation has a cause and an effect. That is the dual nature of the Prakriti. So Prakriti is one and Purusha is another. So the framework, the knowledge base is called the Purusha. See, the problem with the Western philosophers is they have never studied Indian philosophy deeply. So they think that what they are talking is just very new. I'm sorry. This is the Sankhya system of philosophy which has existed for millions. I don't know how many years it has been there. And Krishna is propounding it to his disciple Uddhava. He says there is a basis which is called the knowledge base. The framework on which everything then comes out. So when it comes out in the form of Prakriti. Prakriti is the physical interface of everything. The equations and the thought process which I did in the university is now getting converted into machines, is getting converted into formulas, is getting converted into programs. And these programs are going to do something. Did you get the whole thing? See, I know this may be a slightly difficult approach, but there are lots of technical people sitting in this satsang. That is why I am telling you a little bit of technology over here. So I feed the system with something and it comes out with some answers, isn't it? The cause and the effect. There is a cause and there is an effect, right? So Prakriti is the cause and the effect factor. So Purusha is the framework and cause and effect is Prakriti. I hope you got this line. So we move to the next verse, which is chapter 19 from the Uddhava Gita, verse 5. From the Prakriti as I agitated it, there emanated the gunas, Satva, Rajas and Tamas with the approval of the Purusha. Now, why does this thing have to be like that? Approval of the Purusha? See, all this is emanating from what? He says, I agitated the Prakriti. See, please understand one thing. You may be sitting with one grand idea. Last year, people were sitting at home doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. And because they were sitting in front of their Zoom call, this call, that call and everything, their offices were closed. And most of the day they are sitting in front of, they had the fatigue, Zoom call fatigue. Like that they had. So now this person is sitting in front of it. And then he is just dreaming. And while he is sitting over there, naturally he is going through various channels. So he sees YouTube, he sees all kinds of other channels that are there. And then he says, yeah, I am sitting in front of this camera only. I am sitting in front of this video. Why I cannot make a video for myself? So he just keeps on thinking, I will make one, I will make one, I will make one. 2 billion videos have been put up. Don't you think it's a joke? And now he starts thinking, I got to do something about it. Because, an empty mind is a devil's workshop, they say. So he wants to do something. So then he thinks in his mind, yeah, I can do this. DIY. Do it yourself. All right. And maybe some people think that, okay, I know computers, I will teach people the different kinds of programs. Or something like that. So he conducts programs. There are lots of people who conduct the master classes. Right? Now, this, whatever I am doing is also called a master class, but I am the master and you are the class. So I have been doing it for, I think, God knows how many years now. Now it is on YouTube and all those places. Earlier it was done in front of each other. So think about it. So there is a master class going on and people are sitting. He just thinks, I will do it, I will do it, I will do it. Then what happens? It got agitated. Agitated means you can either end up doing it or you can end up being a lazy bone. Got it? So you will just have ideas in your mind. At the end of the year, you will still think, oh my God, I can't even go to office and I have to listen to my boss. That fellow tells me you have to put on the camera throughout the day. I'm sitting in half pant, I don't have anything below also, they will say. Yeah, my cat is going here, the dog is barking, my wife is calling out, somebody comes to, kiss me over here. And all that kind of thing that is happening in the calls. Something like that. It is like that. So, you get bored of it at the end of 1 year. And then you say, this is 2021. I wish something happens now. And the government says, no, the pandemic is still continuing. And then you are facing the dilemma. I should have started that YouTube channel, you know. By now, at least I would have had 1 million followers. And this is what thinking is all about. So first is the thinking. This is where the Purusha came into the picture. Did you get the whole picture? So why am I giving you these live examples which is happening today is so that you understand what is the meaning of this. Everything happens by the approval of Prakriti, the mother nature. The mother nature is existing. So the Prakriti as I agitated it. When your agitation happens, I got to do, you keep on doing that. Like the vultures in the Jungle Book. What are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? You are also agitated. You are wondering, what are we going to do now? So it's like that. So you think like that. I have to do something, I have to do something, I have to do something. So from the Prakriti as I agitated it, the emanation of the gunas happened. Satva, Rajas and Tamas. 3 gunas. The Satva is all about goodness. Rajas is all about activity. And Tamas is all about laziness. I don't want to do anything. Like that kind of stuff. It is tamasic in nature. Non-activity. So, everything, these 3 gunas came out of Prakriti because Krishna says, I agitated Prakriti. I told Prakriti, now is the time to do something. Just don't sit on your backside and just do, I don't know what I'm going to do. Most of the people, they have this habit of saying, I don't know what I'm going to do. This is so boring, so boring. And that boring thing has to come out as an activity. Because people are in the tamasic mode today. For them to do something, they need a kick in their backside. And without the kick, they don't do anything. When they see the whole world is going ahead, they see, oh, this fellow has got 1 million views, that fellow has got this fellow is doing like that. They keep on doing this. And then they will say, some people will say, who are completely on the tamasic side, they will say, what am I sitting in this meeting and doing, full day I just sit and do. And they keep on crying, constantly they cry. They will keep on telling themselves, that this is a worthless place. I wish I get a new job. I wish I can go somewhere where I can do some real work. Real work? You are supposed to do the work. Yesterday when I closed my chapter, chapter 18, did I not say that that particular Brahmana was doing his duty diligently even if he was enlightened? So whether you are enlightened or not, don't you think it is your duty to do your job, whatever that has come your way? Your Swadharma says that you have to do. Otherwise you are in the tamasic mode. You will still want to keep on searching for new jobs, new opportunities, and you think that in some other company there are people working. Everywhere they are in the tamasic mode. Nobody is doing anything. Earlier, in the stock exchanges, you saw all those people saying, hey, hey, raising their hands and shouting and doing all kinds of things. Today, you don't even have to see that. You take an app, you just press some buttons, and that's it. You can buy a Bitcoin and sell it in 4 seconds flat. It will become less than 1 second very soon. And you can transfer it from one part of the world to the other part of the world in a flash like this. What work have you done? What work have you done? You bought a Bitcoin for say $100. Alright? One Bitcoin for $100 many years ago. And today you are sitting with millions because it started laying eggs. So what work have you done? Did you see that? And there are billionaires who are born every minute because actually they don't do anything. In the initial stages, they write a program. And later on, they become billionaires. And then they flout their money, they flout their position also and their strength also. So did you see, from a tamasic mode, sitting in your office in the comfort zone or in your Mercedes Benz or any of those fancy cars, you can just with the press of a button, you can do whatever you want to. This is tamas. Earlier, it was such a difficult task. You had to engage so many people to find a bride for you, isn't it? In India, it was like a process. It took many months. It took many years. You take match kundalis, go from this village to that village, this auntie, that uncle, this fellow. So many in between people were there to get you one wife or one husband. Today, you go on an app and every day you can find a new husband for yourself or a wife for yourself. Don't you think that is very funny? And how lazy that thing process has become. And that is what he's talking about. The tamasic guna. We are today in the tamasic guna. Alright. So we will move to the next one. We are doing chapter 19 verse 6. From them emanated the sutra, with which the Mahat is united. From the transformation of this was produced egoism, which dilutes all. From them emanated the sutra. So there is the Purusha and the Prakriti principle. Now always remember, Purusha principle is driven by absolute knowledge. Got it? Never forget these words. Purusha, absolute knowledge. Prakriti, dual nature, which is basically the two things that happen. Okay, action and reaction, the way we say it, or here in this case, it is the cause and the effect. There is something which happens and something comes out of it. So that Prakriti is called the mother nature. So there is the knowledge, which is Purusha, which is always shown as sleeping, and Prakriti, which is dynamic principle. So passive principle and dynamic principle. So when the passive principle and the dynamic principle, the active principle came together, from them emanated the sutra. As if from them, by their union, came something out of it. And that is called the Mahat. What is the Mahat principle? The Mahat principle is when from nothing comes something. From nothing comes something. Got it? The convertibility from nothing to something. That is the principle called Mahat. Please remember this. In our daily life, I gave you the example of Elon Musk. He has this company called Neuralink. Some people thought about it. They came up with this formula. They wrote about it. They converted it into a chip, and that chip was put on animals and monkeys also. Got it? Now he is going to put it on human beings. So from just the knowledge, which is a thinking process, to converting it into the final product. So from nothing, knowledge was absolutely, there was nothing tangible there, There was nothing which we can say, oh, I can hold the knowledge. No, it just popped out. Just popped out. So from that nothingness to something, the product which came out of it. I hope you get this whole idea. Even in your life, you may think, oh, suddenly, I want to become a YouTube star. The idea comes in you. Yes, just an idea. But the convertibility into getting your videos up requires a lot of work to be done. The work is the job of the Prakriti principle. Got it? Here this is the passive principle, thinking about it, creating the ideas, the superstructure, which is knowledge base, the absolute knowledge. So got it? From the knowledge base to getting it manufactured requires the principle, the in-between phase is called the Mahat principle. Got it? I hope you understood this. From the transformation of it was produced egoism, which dilutes all. Now, from nothing came something. You also ask, when I was telling you about your own birth, prior to coming out of the womb, what were you? There was no entity as such, isn't it? There was no entity as such. After that, a sperm and an egg mated together and created a zygote, a baby. And this baby got life. And the moment it came out of the womb, he said, Mummy, it said Daddy. Got it? That ego comes into play. I am a baby, this is my mummy, this is my daddy, this is my world. That egoism comes into the picture immediately. So, I wrote the formula. The formula got converted into Neuralink. It is my propriety. I own it. So Neuralink company owns that particular patent, saying that this is what I created. The I comes into the picture. The egoism is given birth. Did I make myself clear to you? So this is how it came about. See, it's slightly a difficult way of understanding, but I'm giving you modern examples so that you can understand what Krishna is talking about. This is a philosophy of the Sankhya kind, the Sankhya philosophy. And we have to understand it. But to understand it, I have to put it in a modern context. And this modern context, I'm explaining to you as much as I can. So from nothing, which is knowledge base, came something which is Prakriti, Mother Nature principle. The moment from nothing to something comes about, ego rears its head. So this in-between principle is called the Mahat, and the ego, Ahankara, comes into play. I created it, I am the one, I am like this, and I am like that. This is the Mahat principle. Got it? And from that, now we are progressing further. So, Krishna is now going to describe the egoism. Right. So, we are doing chapter 19, verse 7 of the Uddhava Gita. Egoism is threefold: Satva, Rajas and Tamas, which are respectively the cause of the mind, the organ and the fine particles of matter. It is both sentient and insentient. So when this knowledge mixed up with Mother Nature, so the formula and the principle of creation came together. What happened? The egoism came into picture. I exist comes into the picture. This is threefold: Satva, Rajas and Tamas. Now from the Satva comes the mind. What came from Satva? The mind. From the Rajas came the organs, and from the Tamas came the fine particles of matter. Let us examine this very, very deeply. So, the principle of Purusha and the Prakriti came together. So the same example which I gave you just now, I will use that once again for you to understand. I know now it is started to become slightly difficult, but let me go step by step so that you get a knowledge of it. So the three things which came about. So egoism is threefold. The ego comes in three ways. The first one is the sattvic kind, second is rajasic, and third is tamasic. Now this rajasic, tamasic and all these things, you please keep on that as a base of everything. From your nature to everything, you just remember Prakriti is the mother of these three. Prakriti is the mother of these three. And those who have been listening to my Das Bodh and other satsangs, they will very clearly understand that Mother Nature gave rise to three principles, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. From the Sattva came the god of Sattva. The god of Sattva is Vishnu. The god of Rajas came into the picture. His name was Brahmaji. And the god of Tamas came into the picture. His name was Shiva. So they all had their wives. So Brahma had his own wife, Vishnu had his own wife, and Shiva had his own wife. So each one has its own principles. So Vishnu, Sattva Guna, the Sattva. Vishnu's wife was called Lakshmi. Then we have Brahmaji, his wife was Saraswati. And then we have Shivji, his wife was Parvati. We also call her Kalima. Alright, so these are the three principles. Always remember this. These three principles are always going to be existing because now the creation has started. So there are into three gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So the ego got divided into three. And from the Sattva, it is the cause of the mind. The mind came into the picture. The mind started thinking and it said, yes, I know this principle. The knowledge is there. I am going to think very carefully how to create this formula. I want to put it into actual digits. I can write a formula. So the person who thought about it started converting it into physical structure of a formula. So they started writing in the formula form. So just now, a few moments ago, I was telling about graphical, neural interface or whatever then that network is there. Now what is that? So somebody wrote the formula down, and that somebody who wrote the formula used his mind. So Sattva Guna gives rise to mind, Rajas gives to organs. With my hand and my brain and the paper, I write down. So the organs came into the picture. My brain and my fingers came into the picture. And then the tamas, from which the particles of matter, that with which I write down, that with which I am actually taking into account, that the pen or whatever, am I actually putting it in paper? Yes. So that came into the picture. This is the fine particles of matter. It is both sentient and insentient. Like the living creatures and like those others which are not supposedly living, So both these things came into the picture. We don't believe the book is alive. Do we say the book is alive? No. But are you alive? Yes. So there are these two kinds of creatures which came into the picture. Yes, I know it has become very heavy by now. So I will stop over here and we will continue about it tomorrow. This is Sankhya philosophy. So we will stop at verse 7. Tomorrow we will start from verse 8 onwards. And I will see you all tomorrow early in the morning at 6:30. Take care. Have a great day today. Bye.